All right. So today I want to talk about something I haven't really used in a while, just because I haven't really had a need for it. But I did see something come up recently from a user that had to use this particular module. So I want to talk about that in case it's something that you run into, and that's the webMercator's that is the webMercatorUtils in the ArcGIS API for JavaScript. So let's check out when you might need to use something like this. Okay, so the webMercatorUtils module has been in the API forever. It was there in the 4.0 release. It's in the 3x release. It's just one of those modules that's super handy to use and is very easy to use because it is used to convert geographic coordinates 4326 to webMercator coordinates 3857. It can also go back from webMercator to geographic. So if you need to go from one spatial reference to the other, you can. And it's fast because the math to do that isn't really that difficult. It's not like you're reprojecting from like NAD 27 or NAD 83 into lat long or something like that. So this is super useful to do something like this, right? You don't need to bring in the projection engine to do this particular work. So it's really neat and really useful. Now, the reason I don't say I haven't really used it in a while, because it's not something that I come across too often that I need it for anything in particular, right? Because if you're working with the ArcGIS platform, it's going to take care of all of your spatial reference and lat longs and webMercator and geographic coordinates for you and everything like that. It's just going to handle it when you request the data. But if you bring data from a third-party source, you might have that data in geographic coordinates, and you might do something that you're going to need it to be in webMercator or go back from webMercator to geographic. Let me show you what I mean. So let's assume I get a set of coordinates from some third-party location. Maybe I made a fetch request. I got these coordinates for polygons from some other source outside the ArcGIS platform, and I want to show them on my map. Awesome, that's great. Now I want to go ahead and I want to use something like the sketch view model to go ahead and do some work on these polygons, right? I want to edit them or something like that and then do something with them. Okay, so awesome. So let's take a look here and let's go ahead and try union these two geometries. So I brought in the geometry engine here. And what I'm going to do is when I click this button over here, I want to go ahead and perform my union. So they're all inside of my graphics layer, so I can go ahead and grab them from there. So let's do, let's just real quickly get the geometries. I probably would not, I'd do this a little better if this were like a real world application. But for now, I'm really just interested in getting the geometry information back from my graphics layer. So I'm sorry, not graphics layer.map, it's graphics layer.graphics.map. And let's grab all the geometries that are in there. Okay, so I have my geometries and I want to union them with geometry engine. So let's come up here to geometry engine. Let's look at methods. Let's look at union. Come on. Okay, here we go. So it takes an array of geometries, right? So I can go ahead and pass that, see right here, geometry array. All inputs must be the same type of geometries and share one spatial reference. That's important. We'll come back to that in a second here. So I can go ahead here and I can say something like const union is going to be equal to geometry engine dot, what am I doing here? Union geoms, right? And now I want to go ahead and I will remove them, everything from the graphics layer. So it's going to be graphics layer dot remove all, and I'm going to go ahead and say graphics layer dot add, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a graphic with the geometry of my union geometry. And let me copy this same symbol I used here and do it like so. Okay, save that, run it. Now you're not going to tell well, you won't be able to tell really, because I'm just going to go ahead and let me go ahead and just console.log this out. So console.log, and we're going to say, oh, I can't spell, union.spatialReference.wkid. Okay. Let's clear this, run it, and I'll run the union. Did I do it? I did not do it. Debug in here. Oh my goodness, what have I done wrong? I've done plenty of things wrong with my life. Oh, I know what I did wrong. This is a collection. I need this to be a regular array. That's what I did wrong. Okay, let's run this now. Clear this. And union. And okay, so I need to do union dot spatial reference dot wkid. All right, so it's a single geometry. Save that, run it. Okay, so it's spatial reference 4326. You can't tell, but this is a single geometry. Well, we can actually check that in a second here, because I have added this graphics layer to a sketch view model. So that means I can go ahead and grab it, and you can see here it now behaves as a single geometry. Awesome. Okay, now what we can do, maybe I want to move one of these and merge them. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run it again. Let me clear this. So I'm going to grab one, move it over here, finish it up, and now do a union, and it's gone. It's disappeared. What happened? The problem is going to be here in geoms. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do a for let g in geoms. Oh, I'm sorry, of geoms. Always forget. And let's go ahead and console.log g.spatial reference.wkid. I can't spell it right. Reference. There we go. Now, once I learn how to spell, things will start working. So let's clear it up again, run it. All right, let's do it again. Move this over here, union, and bam, what is going on here? So the first geometry in this geoms is 4326. The second geometry is 102100. That's webMercator. This is geographic. That's webMercator. And when we do the union, it comes back as geographic, but the geometries are not correct. Right? So it didn't throw an error. It did the best it could, but it just did not work. I've got no graphics shown, and they're not like they're off the map or anything like that. They are just not there, right? So, okay, so how can you fix this? This is where the webMercatorUtils comes into play. So what I can do here is I can actually use the, let's come back here. There we are. I can do geographic to webMercator, or webMercator to geographic, just depends which one I want to use. So we're going to take advantage of that inside of our app. Now, technically, I would say if you're using Geometry Engine, this is probably the kind of checks you'll want to do anyway in a production application. You want to make sure that all these spatial references are the same when you're passing geometries to Geometry Engine, so you can do the work it needs to do. It can't do different geometries, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to say that, let's create a new array here. So I'm going to say that const, I don't know what to call this. Let's call it geometries. Metries. Am I spelling that right? Yes, I am. Okay. So I have an array of geometries here. Let me copy this here. So what I'm going to say is that if the spatial reference WKID is equal to 4326, then I want to do geometries dot push. That's what I want to do. I need a push in there. And I'm going to do webMercatorUtils dot, oh, I got to type all this. Give me a second here. Let's see if I don't screw this up. Geographic to webMercator. Oh, Okay, here we go. And we're going to push the g dot geometry. Okay, that was a lot of typing. And else, what we're going to do, if it's not, then we're just going to go ahead and push the regular geometry into our geometries array. So like so. Right. Okay, so now what I can do is, instead of doing a union on the regular geoms, I can do the geometries, and this should now work. Right. So let's go and save this. Let's run it. Clear the console. So now I can go and move this down over here. Do a union. Okay, wait, no. Not these are already geometries. Sorry, my bad. These are already geometries, so I don't need to do any of that funny stuff. My bad for not giving them a real name. I mean, who would have thought that just naming something G, I would forget what it is, right? Let's clear this up. All right, so if I grab this polygon, move it over here. Now if I try to merge them, bam, we've now merged them, and it's a single webMercator geometry, right? Okay, let's clear our log. So if I grab this, move it over here, do my union. So before 4326 and one is 102100. After, they're both 102100, and the end result being union is 102100, and I've got my nice unioned geometry. Okay, so that's basically all I wanted to cover today. This is somewhat of an edge case, I think. It probably won't happen very often, but it is something to be aware of, right? If you ever run into issues with working with Geometry Engine and you're just not getting your union geometries, or actually any of the methods in Geometry Engine, a lot of them that take arrays, like, you know, even if you're doing like buffer, you're doing a clip because you pass it a geometry and you want to clip it with another geometry, they have to be the same spatial reference. You get any of these weird errors, stuff like that, make sure that you're using the same spatial reference. And if it's just a matter of like geographic and webMercator, you can convert back and forth to do whatever you just need to do. Now this happens because the sketch view model only works with webMercator coordinates. It'll be in the doc in the next release, just so you know. There'll be a note there about this particular thing. But the idea here is that it's actually going to modify your geometries to the webMercator. So if you pass it geographic geometries in a sketch view model or sketch widget, I guess either one, then it's going to go ahead and convert those for you. So you need to be aware of that, right? Like I said, this is really more of an edge case. You're probably working in just regular geometries. You're using sketch view model to draw stuff, and you're tweaking it and moving it around, stuff like that. But like I said, this could happen if you get data from a third-party source, some API that you're working with, maybe some really cool Firebase stuff, or Supabase, whatever you're working with out there. I guess, does anyone use Firebase? It's all Supabase now, right? Either way, that is something to be aware of. So remember, you have webMercatorUtils to do geographic to webMercator and webMercator geographic, and then there's projection engine for more complex coordinate conversions that you gotta do and stuff, right? So make sure to play around with that, try it out, be aware of these edge cases. Like I said, you may not run into them. I doubt you will, but if you do, be aware of them, and now you know that there's a solution out there for you to fix it. So give it a shot. If you like this video, be sure to comment below, like, and subscribe. Also drop me any questions, and you also know where to reach me. Thanks a lot. I just want to let you know that I've started a new podcast called The Bounding Box, where I'll be talking about geo development, web development, and everything in between. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and plenty of other places that you can find podcasts. There are a few episodes available now. We are in a bi-weekly schedule, so every other week. Thank you.